What we are witnessing right now is something few people expected to see unfold this dramatically, and certainly not this fast. Donald Trump's business empire, the foundation of his wealth, his public image, and his political identity, has just taken what legal experts are calling the most devastating legal hit of his lifetime. This isn't a narrow technical ruling. It isn't a procedural setback. It's a sweeping judgment that challenges the very legitimacy of how Trump built and operated his empire for decades. And then came the moment that truly stunned the financial world. Warren Buffett, the famously cautious, famously apolitical Oracle of Omaha, finally broke his silence. After nearly a decade of avoiding Trump entirely, Buffett delivered a blunt statement on fraud, honesty, and financial integrity that many interpreted as a quiet but devastating indictment. This story isn't just about Trump losing a case. It's about accountability, power, and whether the American system actually enforces rules when the defendant is rich, famous, and politically influential. For decades, Trump sold himself as the ultimate businessman, the deal maker, the billionaire who knew how to bend the system without breaking it. That image carried him from real estate into reality television, and eventually all the way to the White House. He told voters he would run America the same way he ran his company, aggressively, unapologetically, and profitably. Trump Tower, Mar-a-Lago, casinos, golf resorts, licensing deals. The Trump Organization was never just a company. It was a brand meant to signal dominance, success, and mastery of capitalism itself. But that image has now collided with the cold machinery of the legal system. A federal judge, after reviewing thousands of documents and years of financial records, concluded that Trump and his company engaged in repeated, intentional fraud. Not once, not occasionally, but systematically, over many years, inflating asset values when it benefited them, and deflating those same assets when it saved them money. This wasn't a close call. The judge issued a summary judgment, a rare move that signals the evidence is so overwhelming that no reasonable trial outcome could change the conclusion. In other words, the fraud was obvious on paper. According to the ruling, Trump misrepresented the value of his properties to banks, insurers, and tax authorities in ways that materially benefited him. Loans became cheaper, insurance terms became more favorable, taxes became smaller. And when confronted, the court found not remorse, but defiance. The ruling described a complete lack of accountability, noting that Trump showed no willingness to acknowledge wrongdoing and instead attacked prosecutors, judges, and the legal system itself. The language was unusually blunt, reflecting a judge who felt compelled to draw a line. The immediate consequences are severe. The court ordered the cancellation of key business certificates in New York, threatening Trump's ability to operate his company in the state. Massive financial penalties loom, potentially reaching hundreds of millions of dollars. Forced asset sales are now a real possibility. This isn't theoretical anymore. It's operational. The case itself didn't appear overnight. It began years earlier, when Trump's former lawyer Michael Cohen testified that manipulating asset values was standard practice inside the Trump Organization. Properties were inflated to impress lenders, then quietly undervalued when taxes or insurance came due. New York Attorney General Letitia James followed the paper trail. Her office reviewed years of financial statements, interviewed insiders, consulted real estate experts, and compared Trump's claims to actual market data. The conclusion was consistent across the board. The numbers didn't add up. As the evidence mounted, Trump's legal strategy followed a familiar path. Delay, deny, attack the prosecutor, claim political motivation, question the legitimacy of the court. It's a strategy that had worked before, or at least delayed consequences long enough to outlast attention cycles. But this time, it failed. Trump's own accountants testified that they raised concerns. Company employees acknowledged inflated valuations. Experts dismantled the defenses one by one. The record became impossible to ignore. And then, the judge acted. For Trump, this ruling cuts deeper than fines or property sales. It strikes at the core of his identity. His wealth isn't just money, it's validation. It's proof, in his mind, that he wins. A formal legal finding of fraud doesn't just cost him assets. It undermines the story he's been telling for 50 years. Now Trump faces a dilemma entirely of his own making. He can continue attacking the court, escalating rhetoric and risking further penalties, contempt rulings, or additional legal exposure. Or he can comply, which means accepting a legal judgment that declares his business practices fraudulent. Either path damages him. This pressure isn't limited to Trump himself. The Republican Party is feeling it too. Moderate Republicans worry about how this plays with independent voters who value stability and honesty. Hardcore MAGA supporters dismiss the ruling as persecution. Party leaders are stuck navigating a political landscape where defending Trump increasingly means defending documented fraud. Even longtime allies are hesitating. Nikki Haley, once careful to criticize Trump without alienating his base, has begun questioning whether Republicans can win a general election under this cloud of legal chaos. That shift matters, not because she declared guilt, but because she acknowledged risk. When carefully calibrated, politicians start distancing themselves. It's a signal that the ground is shifting. Legal experts across the ideological spectrum are also speaking with rare unanimity. Conservative analysts, including former prosecutors who previously defended Trump in other cases, now describe the fraud ruling as overwhelming. Some have openly said they would advise settlement rather than appeal, a remarkable admission in Trump's orbit. And then came Warren Buffett. Buffett rarely comments on politics. When he does, he chooses his words with surgical precision. Asked about the ruling, he didn't mention Trump by name, but he didn't need to.
He said that systematically lying to banks to secure better terms is fraud. That integrity in financial reporting is the foundation of capitalism. That without honesty, the system collapses. In Buffett's world, those statements are a thunderclap. This is a man whose entire philosophy is built on trust, transparency, and long-term value. For him to speak so directly was effectively an endorsement of the court's conclusions. And it carries weight far beyond politics. Because this case isn't just about Trump. It's about whether American capitalism enforces rules equally. Banks rely on accurate information to price risk. Insurers rely on truthful valuations to set premiums. Tax systems rely on honest reporting to function at all. If powerful individuals can fabricate numbers without consequence, if they can delay accountability for decades, then honest participants end up paying more while cheaters profit. That erodes trust, and once trust erodes, systems break. This ruling sends a message, not just to politicians, but to executives, developers, and financiers, that fraud is still fraud no matter how famous the defendant is. Politically, the fallout is only beginning. Democrats are already preparing to frame this as proof that Trump believes himself above the law. Expect excerpts from the ruling to appear in ads, speeches, and debates. Expect accountability to become a central campaign theme. Republicans face a harder challenge. They must decide whether defending Trump is worth defending conduct a judge has now formally condemned. As the 2024 election approaches, voters will weigh chaos versus stability, grievance versus governance. Historically, independents rarely reward prolonged legal turmoil. This case also raises a broader question. Does America truly have equal justice under the law? If Trump faces real consequences, financial, operational, reputational, it strengthens confidence in the system. If he escapes them through delay or political pressure, it sends the opposite signal. And that's why this moment matters so much. The judge still has more decisions to make. Penalties must be finalized. Appeals will be filed. Monitors may be appointed. The story is far from over. But one thing is clear, the era where Trump could dismiss every legal challenge as noise may be ending. The evidence is documented, the rulings are written, the consequences are real. This isn't just about Trump Tower or Mar-a-Lago. It's about whether power bends the law or whether the law still bends power. And in the months ahead, we'll find out which one truly wins.